What's happening, Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas? This is Rohan, Davey.
And I am Myra Elizabeth. Welcome to Not So Neighborly Talk.
And let's get into it from the beginning. What, and wow. What an election we're having.
Wow.
What an election year.
It has been incredible. What we have been seeing in the news is outstanding. It's outstanding.
I mean, the thing with what's going on now, if we just talk about what we've seen in the last month, right, with the storming of the Capitol actually a couple weeks ago, and let's take it back to even the beginning of the presidential campaign, the beginning of the talk and the rhetoric of what was going to happen if, certain people weren't elected, if this didn't happen. What if you had to put it in a timeline, what would you think, the sequence of events that led up to and the reasoning for what happened at the Capitol?
Well, I believe the election at first was controversial because the country was divided. People didn't really want to vote for our current president. But as time went on, we saw that he actually had a very strong following of supporters. Absolutely. And so when it came to our most recent election, I believe that a lot of covert feelings and thoughts and beliefs were uncovered and were revealed. And when these protests happened recently, I think we really saw the truth of how deep the supporters were for the president and how far they were willing to go to fight against what they thought wasn't right.
My feelings on my thing about it is, if you're a patriotic American, if you're a John McCain, if you're these servicemen that serve our country and serve our country proudly, if you're one of these retired colonels or anyone in that facet, for you to, whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, like black, don't like black, if you're just a patriot and you're a patriotic American, such as what a lot of the supporters of Donald Trump exemplify, you don't like that what happened at the Capitol. Because even if you like the former President Trump because of his business savvy and he ran the country like it was a business, you still don't like to see your Capitol being overturned, being ran up to, and people not adhering to what the outcome of an election was. And and the part about it for me is it downplays what voting and all that means.
Right. So I like to look at the situation from both angles. And I can't understand the delusions and the disagreement with the new president getting elected. But I do feel like some of his supporters of Trump is a community of people who felt like they were unheard during the Obama administration. They feel like they were left out and that their country that they love forgot about them. So then when Trump came, he became like a savior to them, and they flocked to him because they felt like they found someone that could understand them and what they were going through, because they may have felt like they were victimized to a certain degree. So therefore, whenever you see someone that you feel like is a savior, who has your best intentions at heart, if that's their opinion, and he loses and they believe that it was a conspiracy or that it wasn't true, you're going to want to fight for that.
A lot of people point to the lack of turnout early for Democrats. A lot of people point to, especially in Georgia and Pennsylvania, where Biden won but wasn't supposed to win, and the late people turning in their late voting by mail and all that type of thing. So when they come out with the narrative before the election that was going to happen, and then it happens, and now it's like, okay, see, I told you this was going to happen, and then it happens in these states that he was supposed to win. I think that's part of it for the followers of him to now say, look, see, this is what happened. He said that was going to happen, and that's what happened. And now you have him pointing to, right before the election, he was saying we're going to have a COVID vaccine before January, and and a lot of people doubted him, and we had a vaccine come up before. And so I think it's things like that with the supporters of Donald Trump, it stamps in their mind that he is doing what he's saying, no matter how small or minute it is based on the whole tenure. It's the one couple things that you pull from it to make it valid.
I definitely agree with that. And I believe that everyone who showed up for that protest did not have ill intentions, but
Right.
there are people who did. So therefore, it cast a bad light on everyone who was there. Because of the actions of few that turned into the actions of many, it took over from the peaceful protest that people may have intended. And I by no way agree with the violence and the people who was hurt. And I also believe that, higher up administration really had a very strong passion for wanting to protect law enforcement. But if you're sending people to the Capitol to protest violently, who is going to be the one that is in jeopardy? The safety of the law enforcement that are there, because they were the ones who were injured along with other people who were innocent, other people who weren't innocent. So more lives were in jeopardy because of that.
If I think during this election thing, if we look at how everything was conducted, how it was started, even when you go back from the beginning when from the simple process of just signing up to vote, it was so much because of COVID and because of everything that was going on. It does leave a lot of questions in place for that rhetoric. You understand? Because of the uncertainty of everything that was going on, the different ways of people voting, the different ways that the military was to vote. You waiting on votes to come in, days and days and even weeks after the count, and people coming up hiding this. You have people coming up saying this and saying that, and that's all of that when they have mail popping up 2 weeks later with voter registration and they haven't been turned in, and people saying, oh, they hiding our mail and they doing this and doing that. That's all part of the rhetoric, and to me, all part of pointing to, we said this before, we said this back then, and now look at what is happening now. For me personally, man, I was glad to see the record number of people turn out to vote, black, white, Hispanic, in different that part about it. You saw people come out in droves, even early voting by the 19 to 27-year-olds who really made a difference. The women that came out to vote that really made a difference. For me, it was the biggest thing for me with the whole election thing, and the reason I was just because it doesn't matter who in my personally who you're voting for. It's your decision, it's your right. Mm-hmm. But when it becomes divisive, like when the rhetoric at the top, from whether it's your former president or whoever, when during the election, the divisive part about it for me is what takes the cake. Because even at the end of the day, you still, when it's over, said and done, and this is the part where I say, well, now you now have to, like Joe Biden said, you now have to come together, and you now have to heal, and you now have to, but honestly, clean up the divisiveness of we on that side, all Americans, and come together for that one common goal.
Absolutely, and coming together after what seems like a lot of drama and a lot of divisiveness that was implanted from higher up administration. And now it's the time that we have to heal. But whenever you're trying to heal from a situation like that, when you have I call it a narcissistic, abusive relationship that this person has with his community and his supporters, it's going to be really difficult for them to try to heal from this and move forward. Now, but the positive part of it is that I believe that it revealed, the true intention. It showed people, because you cannot heal what you don't reveal. So a lot of people's true feelings were revealed, And I'm grateful for that. So let's have that conversation. Let's speak about it. And let's move forward with healing. But it's going to have to be very particular, because people who are in that situation, it's a lot more easier for them to just find another person to fill that void, and then they continue to follow that person.
Yeah, Americans gotta have tough conversations with people that don't want to have tough conversations, and be able to put your differences aside to get to that goal. And you're not gonna have to have that conversation with everybody. Everybody's not gonna want to sit down and have that conversation. So it's gonna be on adults to do that and figure it out.
Absolutely. But if we're not talking about it, we're not going to be able to go anywhere with it. So I'm happy the conversations were sparked.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot less people in people's Facebook's timelines and inboxes now, because I know a lot of people that have delete just because of the rhetoric that goes on, and you look and you see someone and you was like, man, I didn't know they felt that way, or they commenting about a certain thing and you really didn't know they felt that way. So it's a lot less people, and you're right, it did weed out, people's, and reveal people's true intentions and what they really care about.
Well, speaking of reveal, I know that the Tiger fans are excited now that LSU has finally fired Bo Pelini. So how will these new hires add to or be able to bring the Tigers together in order to reach another championship, potentially?
Yeah, I think the Tigers are, I know I am a little bit happy that, Bo's not there. We haven't hired the new DC yet. We have two excellent coordinators and a passing game coordinator recently, and coming up next, we're going to have to tap and dive into that and see exactly where these Tiger new hires are going to go.
All right, let's get it.
Designing or decorating? Plan your new space from the floor up. New Orleans Flooring has it covered. The best selection in town at factory direct prices. Call now for a free expert quote and measurement, or visit our new expanded showroom in Elmwood. New Orleans Flooring. We've got it covered.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Welcome back. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Not So Labely Talk is sponsored by NOLA Flooring. For all your flooring needs, look up NOLA Flooring. Guaranteed cheaper, better than the rest. Also give a shout out to a company that I know near and dear to my heart, our second sponsor, Sorrento Lumber and Concrete. If you are building your dream home or you just want to repair a busted up driveway, call Sorrento Lumber and Concrete for all your concrete building needs.
And we are back. And, peace is priority.
Peace is priority.
And we know that Tiger fans are at peace that Bo Pelini is gone. But will the new hires be able to glue the team back together and give the Tigers what they need to transform into a championship team again?
Championship team again. That's a great question. It was a tough year defensively, most importantly for the Tigers. And yes, I'm definitely glad that Bo Pelini is out of here. We haven't replaced his guy yet. We haven't replaced his position yet. But what we have done is we brought in 2 excellent offensive guys. Let's start with the OC, the new OC from the Carolina Panthers, Jake Pease. Jake Pease, and let me first preface this by saying Joe Brady, who was here during our championship year with the great Joe Burrow, was instrumental in getting these 2 guys here. Jake Pease and our passing game coordinator, DJ Magnum. DJ Magnum was actually here at LSU with Joe Brady, and when Joe Brady got it, he left to go to the Carolina Panthers. And what we're showing here is just what we want to see is the Joe Brady from the LSU era now with the Magnum and the Pease and coming in and basically making that transition easier because you're coming from a guy that was here before. Jake Pease has a 10-year experience in the NFL. Right. Tutored Teddy Bridgewater last year. We started out strong and had a good year. DJ Magnum is coming in here to work with wide receivers. And actually, when Joe Brady first came here, wide receivers was what he worked with. And the tutelage that he was able to give those guys, the Jamar Chases, the Jordan Jeffersons, and all these guys that went on to have these great seasons is the same thing that you want from a DJ Magnum. You want the 34-year-old, a young guy to come in and be able to relate to these young receivers, to be able to coach them through the depth and the precision of the passing game. So bringing in Jake and DJ Magnum is a great addition. But what I'm looking forward to is when we hire this defensive coordinator. And as you well know, we missed out on one recently.
Yes. We did. Mr. Marcus Freeman.
Unfortunately, don't know why we lost him. Don't know because he took the Notre Dame job. Now I've heard he has a connection to Indiana. Don't know how deep that runs, but if that's true, then kudos to Marcus and good luck to him there. I would have loved to see him with the guys that we have coming back at LSU, falls on the defense side and in the secondary, and to have him just be able to bring that infectious energy that he had at the University of Cincinnati, knowing how to relate to these younger guys. Because that's one of the things, in my opinion, with Bo Pelini. See, Bo Pelini came in to LSU and was a great defensive coordinator about 10 years ago. His new role was head coach. And as a head coach, there's a lot of things you have to do. You have to go kiss the babies. You have to go to the luncheons. You have to go raise money. So you kind of lose touch with ball. And when you have a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator, you want those guys to be in ball. You don't want your guys coming in at 9 in the morning and, last one in the building and first one out the building, which was the reputation of a Bo Pelini. You want a reputation of a hats off to Coach Ensminger. And good luck in his retirement. But Coach Ensminger was the kind of coach that comes in at 4 in the morning and leaves at 10 at night. That old school, 10 toes down, get it done. So that's what we need on the defensive side of the ball, and just to go ahead and interject some energy into that side. Have those guys, because I know personally for a fact that those guys had no confidence in Coach Pelini. They had no confidence in the system. You saw guys running free all day, all night in the secondary, and that wasn't LSU football. Giving up 40-plus points a game, over 500 yards a game, 3+ times during the season, that's not LSU football.
Defense, needed to get it together. But, offense was doing okay. But what do you think? Do you think any of the quarterbacks will not be returning in spring?
I tell you what, that's a damn good question. Really a good question. And let me say this. Based on, I know some of these guys that are there, Miles, Zach, and absolutely TJ Finley. All those guys, basically, in my opinion, are on the same plan. Even though TJ and Max are younger guys, they've started more games, if not the same amount of games as Miles Brennan. If I was them, I would look to see who the OC is. We know that now. I would meet with those guys and see what their plans are for the quarterback position, whether or not now whether or not your style as a football player fits the style of the OC that's coming in. So if like I said, if Jake comes in, we know that his system is going to be similar to what Joe Brady ran. You need a quarterback similar to a Teddy Bridgewater, similar to a Joe Burrow. So you need someone that can stretch the ball down the field. You need someone that's accurate. And you also need someone with enough mobility to make guys miss and to move. And in my opinion, if I was to say those three quarterbacks right now, Miles, in my opinion, would be the one who would be the odd guy out. And not that he can't play football, because he has a tremendous arm. Starting the season last year, Miles had the best 3 starts of a quarterback to start a season in LSU history. So you can't say he can't get it done. And I'm sure he should be confident because of how he's seen the 2 freshmen play. And I think all of them should be confident with the ability of what they did last year. Those guys were true freshmen. But to answer your question, I will wait and see what the offense looks like and if it fits into my scheme. But I don't think all 3 will be back. I'm not sure who's going to leave, but I don't anticipate all 3 of those guys being back. And I anticipate if a guy's going to leave, that he leaves within the next couple weeks.
You heard it here first. But speaking of freshmen doing their thing, how do you feel about TJ Finley being compared to Rohan Davey?
That's funny. It's funny because I worked with TJ in the off season and also during the season last year, just quarterback stuff. And I've heard that. I heard it last year and saw it last year. And I think when they compare, similar to how they said Jamarcus, J-Rock, and all of us, those guys actually are way taller than I am. TJ was 6'5", J-Rock was 6'6", I'm 6'4". So of course us being black quarterbacks and the size, stature, but I think it was more of us, how we released the football with the whip action. And actually, man, I think the comparison as far as our size is cool and that matters. But for me personally, for him, where he is now in his maturation as a young quarterback, as a freshman quarterback, I was nowhere near as smart as TJ was where he is now as a freshman. I couldn't have came in as a freshman like TJ with all the pressure that he had on him going into this year and go out there and just perform, start against these top-notch teams, not as a true freshman, as a true freshman doing. I could have did it as a redshirt freshman, but as a true freshman because of the passing game, how the passing game has evolved over the last 10 years with 7-on-7 and quarterbacks coming out of high school ready to throw the football. Passing game for me coming out was nowhere near as developed as that. So you get a chance now to play and see coverages week after week after week. It just enhances your knowledge.
So are you saying that TJ Finley is in the line to be ahead and better than you were when you were his age and his position?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if TJ decides to stay at LSU and LSU decides to invest in him and nurture him and tutor him, as well as Max. I think that you're going to get a better TJ Finley because he's playing more, he's seeing more defenses. You know, he's seeing coverages a lot more than I was at that position, even at that age. His last 3 years is what's really prepared him for this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I believe that the Tigers can do it. And shout out to Southern University as well. And lightning struck season before last for the Tigers to get that championship. But do you think that lightning will strike 3 times and the Saints can pull off beating Tom Brady and the Buccaneers for 3 times in the same season?
Whew, you know, Tom is my guy. That's my guy. Breeze as well. You know, Breeze coming back off that injury to his ribs and being able to come back and get these games under his belt to show what he really can do. And, you know, have an opportunity for the 3rd time now to go against Tom. And like we talked about off air, you know, those guys are in so many chases for so many records. Passing in the NFL, touchdown passes in the NFL, and you just don't know whoever retires first, the other one is gonna, you know, break the records. So that's definitely something that we're gonna touch on coming up in the next, because I think that needs a little bit longer discussion and see where we go from there with that. But that is an excellent question.
Absolutely. Up next, Saints Talk.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Designing or decorating? Plan your new space from the floor up. New Orleans Flooring has it covered. The best selection in town at factory direct prices. Call now for a free expert quote and measurement. Or visit our new expanded showroom in Elmwood. New Orleans Flooring. We've got it covered.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta, our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Scrametta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are 2 busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Welcome back to Not So Neighborly Talk. I'm Myra Elizabeth.
Hey. Now we're back. Let's get into this lightning strike 3 times.
So the Saints have beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers twice in one season, which already has made history. Can they make history again and give him a third L in the same season? I say yes, but go ahead.
I mean, it's all possible. When I played, and even they've always said it's so hard to beat a team twice. Well, they did it. It's so hard to beat a team 3 times. So that's going to be the question this weekend. And this is the thing I do know, right? Leading, when the season starts, you have the preseason, you have the regular season, you have the end of the regular season where you're chasing seeding for positioning for the playoffs, and then you have the playoffs. And so professional athletes, football players, in that you know the progression, right? So when the Saints played Tampa the first game of the season, knew Tom, knew Bruce, knew everything. So that was kind of, hey, they expected the Saints to win that football game. Second time around, they expected Tampa Bay to win the football game, and the Saints came up and blew their doors off and let them know what was going on. So now you come into the third, and then actually none of those other 2 games matter now. Mm-hmm. Because if you lose this one, you go home, and you go home for the rest of the year. And the Saints being 2-1 against Tampa doesn't matter if they beat them this weekend. You know what I mean? If they go into the offseason and lost one, but you still won one. So I know for Tom, personally, that it's going to come down to being ready in the 4 or 5 situations that the Saints defense are going to do something different. And it's the same way with Drew Brees. It's the 4 or 5 times that whether they bring a blitz, they bring a smoke and bring that corner off the slot, they bring blitz 0 and bring everybody, and those 2 great, fantastic, fabulous, 2 of the best quarterbacks to ever play football pick it up and make them pay. And this is the piece about it for me that's important. This could possibly be Drew's last game. This could possibly be, you said it, his last year playing. So those guys in that locker room, the defense in that locker room, the Cam Jordans, the Jenkins, the Lattimore and these guys, they want him to go out on top. So the one thing that's not happening is those guys aren't taking anything lightly. Those guys, the great Sean Payton isn't allowing those guys to say, okay, we've beat them already 2 times. We don't have to dot every I and cross every T and turn over every rock to make sure we're checks and balance everything going into this game. And those guys are professionals. I expect a damn good football game.
It's going to be a hell of a game. And Brady has had to transition from getting to the Buccaneers from where he was into this warm southern weather when Breeze has been here. But Breeze has been transitioning from his injury. So he's coming in and he's going for it because he could have gave up then and he didn't. He's a veteran quarterback. He has a veteran coach. And we have a lot of veterans on this team that are not trying to transition and have moved around. So we are coming into this with the knowledge and the understanding and the experience of whipping them already. And I think that lightning can strike the same place 3 times. And I believe in these Saints. I see it happening.
Yeah, I doubt if it strike 3 times this go around though. And there you have a point that he's a veteran quarterback with a veteran coach. You also have a veteran quarterback with a veteran coach on the other side. You also have veterans on that side and veterans on this side. And, that's why I say it's going to be a good football game because both of these teams have been in huge games. Both of these teams, New Orleans definitely more recent than Tampa over the last couple years. Last couple years been heartbreak city for the Saints with the meltdown and the bad calls. So going into this game, that memory of all that going into this one game, all that is also being pushed to the side. Tampa Bay coming into this season wasn't supposed to be the season quote unquote, for Tampa Bay to make a run for Tampa to get to the Super Bowl this year. Their season was supposed to be next year. And now you face a Tampa team as the Saints that didn't have Antonio Bryant before, that had a right guard and a left tackle out, that had a linebacker out in the defense. So, and then you had a Saints team that had injuries in the Saints. So that's why I say, like, this to me is the game of the weekend in the playoffs. When you match up these two teams, and especially these two great quarterbacks that are chasing doggone every NFL record right now as they compete and play against each other. And I'll be honest with you, the bad part about it for me is I wish Tom would have gotten this division a little bit earlier, because seeing him and Drew Brees go against each other year after year is similar to when I was in New England and seeing Tom and Peyton Manning go at it, the 4 years that I was there. So I wish they was here. But it's going to be a fantastic game.
It will be. And speaking of quarterbacks, let's go ahead and go to the top of the hill. Taysom Hill. He's a quarterback on paper, but what are your thoughts on his abilities and skills actually lining up with quarterback skills and characteristics, despite what he's written on paper?
Right. Let me say this. I think Taysom Hill is a fantastic athlete. I think he's a fantastic football player.
Definitely.
But I don't think Taysom Hill is a quarterback per se. Now, let me say this. The type of quarterback that the Saints need, let me rephrase it, the type of quarterback that the Saints need to catapult themselves forward to win a Super Bowl is Drew Brees. A quarterback that could stretch the ball down the field, a quarterback that could conventionally drop back and throw. Taysom Hill showed in the games that Drew was out that he's more than capable of carrying until you reach a point in either the game or you're playing a team that can put points on the board and it's not a ball control. Taysom Hill is a ball control quarterback. The Saints, in my opinion, are at full strength. The Saints, to me, in my opinion, are much better off when you have a Taysom Hill as that wild card, as that gadget guy, as that short yardage goal line guy. He's a tough, physical, strong guy that could get out on the edge and do some things there. He could do some things in the run. He'd do some things in the kick game and everything like that. But as far as them paying Taysom Hill, whatever it is, $15 million, $16 million,
19, 20, 21.
as a quarterback, I don't agree with that. And I'm never going to go against Sean Payton, Bill Belichick, Coach Saban, because those guys have been around and they're gurus of the game and they're legends of the game. But in my opinion, you would, in order for them to tender Taysom Hill with that tender number and also to pay him that money as a quarterback, I don't agree with that aspect of it. I agree with him paying him his money, but not as a QB, because you have to play a certain number of plays, in my opinion, over a certain number of years to be categorized as a quarterback.
I agree with you, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. But I like that you said he was a wild card, because I do believe that too. And I believe that's going to be vital in the game this weekend, with Drew Brees being healthy and Taysom Hill being there as that wild card.
Yeah.
Brees and Taysom have this little bromance on the field. When they're on the field together, they're reading each other, they're in tune, they're on the same page. And I've watched the Saints I've seen Peyton put Hill in at the last minute on a play, and I watched the other team scramble. That is going to be critical in the game this weekend. And I know that they're going to do some nice little switcheroos and keep the other team on their toes, and it's going to come out successful for them.
That's the 3 or 4 plays I'm talking about that you don't know what's coming, and you're going to see the same thing from Tampa. You've seen these guys so much, so these coaches scramble to get something similar to what you've seen, but show you something different. So I'm going to show you this, but do something else. And you're going to see that 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 or 6 times throughout the football game. that's going to affect the outcome of the football game, and it's going to be situationally. It's not just going to be a damn pull out the air and let's throw it and see if it stick. It's going to be something that these guys have strategically put in place. It's going to be something that they've shown already and going to show again. And the other important part about this game, man, that's going to come down to, honestly, is what happens before the end of the half and what happens after halftime. Because whatever team can steal a possession, like let's say the Saints have the ball coming out of halftime, but they could steal a possession right before half and get a field goal, get a touchdown. Now you get the ball back coming out of half, and now you come out and get a field goal or a touchdown. That's a 10, 14, 13, 12-point swing just by flipping halves. And the Belichicks of the world, the Parcells, the Coach Sabans of the world, those are the little nuances, the little situational football plays that gives you an advantage.
Well, we'll definitely see this weekend. One of the teams are going to have to go home. Somebody's going to be crying, upset, and angry. But we are here to help you get your peace back, because your peace is priority. So coming up after the break, have you ever had a boss that just really got under your skin and you were just struggling at work and you just going through it?
I have.
Well, coming up next,
sure have.
we have some tips to help you keep your peace at the workplace. Coming up next on Not So Neighborly Talk.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Eric Gaylord is back, but where has he been?
I read on the internet that guy was abducted by aliens.
Rated P.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
You don't got it. Huh?
Hi, welcome back to Not So Neighborly Talk. And Not So Neighborly Talk is sponsored by NOLA Flooring. For all your flooring needs, look up NOLA Flooring. Guaranteed cheaper and better than the competition. Contact NOLA Flooring.
And Sorrento Lumber and Concrete. If you are building your dream home or just want to repair that busted up driveway, call Sorrento Lumber and Concrete for your concrete building needs. And since we ended the last segment talking about the Saints and what's going on, I'm going to take this a step further because let's say I'm going to go out, if I had, I'm not a Tampa Bay fan, by the way. I'm a Dolphins fan, right? So I've adopted the Saints, so I don't want everyone out here to think that, I'm just bashed. I am a Tom Brady fan because I spent some time with the guy. But I am rooting for the Saints. I do want the Saints to win the football game.
Good answer.
Let that be known. But take it a step further. I would love to see Drew Brees win a Super Bowl and go out on top this year if he is retiring, if this is his final year. I mean, think about it, man. Remember when Coach Saban was at Miami and Drew came down doing his transition before he came to the Saints. And the Dolphins chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. And then he comes here, and we know how the Culpepper experiment went. We know how Coach Saban's experiment went in Miami. Didn't last long, got into it with Zach Thomas. Zach Thomas told him a couple choice words, and before you know it, he was gone and on his way to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love to see, man, because of everything Drew Brees has meant to the Saints, has meant to the city of New Orleans and the things that he's done there, just, good faith gestures and just gestures from his heart itself. To go through the injury that he had this year, the fractured ribs, collapsed lungs, and being at his age, that takes a special kind of dedication. And same thing with Tom, but it takes a special kind of dedication for you to have that respect not only to the organization and to yourself, but for your teammates. You have that respect for your teammates and you work hard. Because get it twisted, Drew Brees don't have anything to prove to anybody. Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Drew Brees is one of the top 5, and top 2 in passing career, top 2 in touchdown passes, percentage completion record. I mean, Drew Brees has nothing to prove to anyone. But I respect the fact that he wants to come out and he wants to prove it to not only himself, his teammates, but he wants to set that example for those young boys he has running around his household, most importantly. So, I know the last segment kind of made it seem like I'm, not a Drew Brees fan or not on board with the Saints. I am. Just have a special place in my heart for 12. But I do want to see Drew Brees finish this thing out, go out on top, right off into the sunset, second line down Bourbon Street, you know what I mean, and have a good time. I want to see him go out on top. I think he deserves it.
Absolutely, he does deserve it. And you also deserve to be at peace. So before the break, we said we're going to go into some tips for anyone who is dealing with a boss that is just grinding your gears at work. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, hell yeah. I've had a bunch of coaches I didn't like. Those were my boss, I was playing for them, so they were my boss. I don't like 9-to-5 jobs since I got out of playing football and being an athlete and not having to get in that. So I don't like that. So, yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. And with COVID going on, our mental health is really in jeopardy right now. And a lot of people are going through it. And if you are working, it's difficult to transition to having to deal with the anxiety of COVID, the COVID pandemic, on top of having a boss. Or if you're working at home, that can be difficult as well. So I'm going to offer you some tips. We're going to offer you some tips on how to keep your peace in the workplace when you have a boss that you're dealing with. And number 1, it would be focus on your breathing, taking deep breaths. Yes, like Rohan is demonstrating for you. Oh, that's money right there. Absolutely. Focusing on that. Taking a deep breath before you respond so you can think and get your words together before you say something that may end up making you lose your job.
Hey, listen, that tip right there is is not just a tip for the workplace. That could be a tip for your spouse. That could be a tip for your kids. That could be a tip for any and anything. Just before you say something that you may regret, say something that you may want to take back that you can't. Like Myra said, just take that deep breath, think about it, and then go from there.
Absolutely. Try practicing that. Also, taking a short walk. If you are in a workplace, you can walk outside, take you a short walk, get outside. It really helps out. You should try that. Even if you are parenting, you have children that are at home that are doing virtual learning. Listen. I tried it once. And it was a lot. It was a lot. 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The kid doesn't want to sit in front of the screen. It's a lot. It can be very stressful. Take you a break outside. Take you a walk for a few minutes and calm down, and that'll be a good time to do some breathing as well. Also, positive affirmations. You spoke about taking a deep breath before you say certain words because your words are powerful. Your words can move mountains. Yeah. And making statements saying, I'm okay, I can do this. Those relate to your body and your mind, and it can really elevate your emotions or your mood. What's a positive affirmation that you use or have used in sports to keep you focused and keep you good?
One of the biggest things, shout out to the Wizard, man. Shout out to the Wizard, my man Lonnie, who, when Coach Saban first came to LSU, he bought the Wizard from Michigan State. And he taught us, one of the biggest things he taught us was how to take a nap for 30 minutes, but it felt like I took a nap for 6 hours, right? And when you're in training camp and you're going through football and you're studying in school, that was something that was very valuable, because if you're studying and staying up late at night, for me, going through the playbook and also trying to study, you're falling asleep 2 o'clock in the morning. We got to get up for study hall, 5:50, got to be the Breakfast Club by 6:30. So, talking to the psychologist, Lonnie, that help us understand breathing techniques, such as you pointed out, to help us understand how to put ourselves in that deep coma-like sleep and wake up and feel refreshed, ready to go. So one of the biggest things that I did was I put on my tape. They had tapes back then. Put on my CD with my waterfalls and anything nature, the wind blowing, the sound of the ocean.
That's good.
And would just meditate on that for 15 or 20 minutes, and before you know it, I'm out like a light and waking up refreshed, ready to go. So that for me was one of the biggest things. And also for me, stretching was something that was therapeutic for me. Not just a regular stretch, a 30 to 45 minute stretch. I tell my son and my daughter all the time, because they're athletes, stretch at night before you go to bed. You sleep better, you wake up, your body's more limber, you're not cranky to get out of bed in the morning. So just stretching, deep meditation for me, and visualizing. You talk about positive thinking. Visualizing getting that promotion. Visualizing, seeing your child graduate college, getting that diploma, getting that A. Visualization is a huge part of my life, a huge part of my successes in football, business, and even just help raising kids.
Absolutely. That is. And stretching, yoga as well. That'll help out. Yoga is not for the lighthearted. If you ever tried yoga is tough. Well, it'll really get it out you.
Yeah, and especially, hot yoga. I wouldn't suggest you guys do hot yoga if you haven't done the first part of it, if you haven't done yoga or done any Pilates or anything like that. I would just suggest that, you do the breathing. If you need to get some sleep at night, you do your stretching. And you go from there, man. And you go from there. And I wanna bring in this phrase. You have your three. So I have my one thought that I want to leave the people with for the day. And today is this: every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath. You talk about breathing. Smile and start again. And when I hear that, it's a confirmation that if you're breathing and you have life in your body, the sky's the limit, or the sky, or there is no limit. If you get up and you have an opportunity to help someone, to be a neighbor to someone, to simply ask somebody if they look down, how you're doing, how's your day going. That's what that phrase means to me. Every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath, smile, and start again. So every day you have a chance to do it better than you did the day before. Smile, take a deep breath, and go at it. If you had a tough day before with your kids, a tough day before with your boss, a tough day before with your spouse, your wife, whoever it may be, your brother, your sister, there's another day tomorrow. And I think if one thing that this COVID and everything has taught us, shout out to everybody that started a new business during COVID too. But the one thing that it has taught you is don't take it lightly. Don't take it lightly. Don't take your health lightly.
Absolutely. And shout out to Pretty Peace. That's all my ladies, my queens of peace. And every day is a new day. A wise woman once told me, yesterday ended last night. It's over with. And now we move forward into a new day. You can't do anything about the past, but you can do something about the future. And all you really have is right now. So here is off to a new beginning, to a new 2021 with us, our neighbors.
Yeah. And
happy, with you, our neighbors.
Happy New Year to everybody, man. Love your neighbor. Do what you can in your community, whatever level you are. Some are poor, some are middle class, some are rich, some are wealthy. Whatever it is, whatever level you're at, think about somebody else on that level. Think about helping somebody else on that level. The people at the top of this, think about the trickle-down effect that you have and the responsibilities that we have to each other to bring our communities together and to be better. Not so neighborly talk.
We'll see you next time, guys.